Hello, how you doing? Daniel Dua from the Conversation with Daniel Dua podcast. Welcome to the show. And today I have a guest that just blew the water out of the park. And part of the reason is because I don't know about you, but personally I struggle with life-work balance. The idea that I would work with my spouse every day, go back home and live with them and live with them and love them seems a bit of a big stretch. And it's because of this that I reached out to my guest today. She runs her business with her husband. Together, they are creating this wonderful company that's taking over the subcontinent and the world. Without much ado, let me introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Slevi. She comes from India, but her business is growing all over the world. You might be hearing from her very soon. But right now, we get into conversation with Slevi. My name is Daniel Dua. Welcome to the show.
You know the introverts and extroverts, right?
I totally don't believe in that, to be honest.
Yeah. So the term, I don't know if there's a term, because I struggle to, I'm generally extremely on the extrovert side.
Yeah.
Because part of my work, yes, and I also work in working space. There's a lot of people. So I love the buzz and I love so I look up, I just want to see a lot of people. It's great. I enjoy. To another extreme of just being here, being at home. Yeah. Like I was saying, we were chatting, is that I think we're all learning the new and we can crib about it or we can do something about it.
Yeah.
And something about the way you work, something about the way you want to change in the way we work. And I think the changes already happened. So I feel like, I don't know, we shouldn't talk about the whole isolation anymore versus move to what's next.
Okay.
Because it's not new, right?
No, it's
Do
not.
I enjoy being at home all the time? No, I don't. But the days we keep cribbing about it is over. Like where we are is new norm right now. So, yeah, this is not about me saying, oh, this is my life, look at me. No, absolutely not. But I also choose to, move to what needs to happen next and how do we kind of enjoy what's going on right now versus waiting,
Would you consider yourself a very happy person? I'm looking at your picture, yes, and you're all smiley,
Yeah, I don't know what that even means. Generally, let's say, I don't know, maybe you capture fun experience than sad, right? When you're sad, you don't really take a picture, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Think about when's the last time you were crying or you were sad and then you take a picture, you're like, no, you don't want to. You probably want to capture moments when it was special, when you met someone, when a family member comes to visit you, or when your dog is adorably looking at you, mostly then. But yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for my life, husband, and a dog. Fantastic.
Yeah.
There are many things that we can get better at, but hey, what I have is a privilege. So,
yeah, good life, right?
Daniel, I would actually say you could be a very shy person.
Yeah.
But you can shift your focus from yourself to others.
Yeah.
So you start focusing on what you give, what you provide, who you serve, all of that. And at the end of the day, you can come back home and you still be a shy person. They don't have to be opposite. They can be together. That's fine.
And that's why I was struggling, and I still struggle with introvert-extrovert definition, because I feel like each human being has both and more, perhaps.
Absolutely. So which is why I feel like a lot of these are not you can't. It is not either or. It's you've got a little bit of both. In some seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
One of them take priority, but in some season, like I feel like in this season, I've really become a lot more focused or a lot more quieter. Otherwise we'd go mad, right?
Right.
It's not bad. But I know if I see someone, I'd go up to them and I'd say hi. So it doesn't stop me from doing the other, but it's not bad.
How are you getting your focus? Your focus, really?
It feels like we've got so much to do. We've been, as a business, we've been wanting to launch in the US or outside the country.
Yeah.
Again, not just US, but outside India for a long time. And to some extent, we've been waiting like, not now, maybe not now. And then suddenly we're like, listen, all of our delivery, all of our sessions, coaching, everything's moved online. Why are we waiting? If you get a client tomorrow, the client is going to be online. So you can get the client from Bangalore or from anywhere else. And it really shifted, saying that, okay, what needs to happen for a shift our focus on actually? And that's when so we basically reached out to a bunch of our friends and said, hey, can we start now? Can we connect? So we basically partnered with them and their friends and then their clients. That's how we launched our first pilot program.
I like the way you're very structured, even though you procrastinated for a while, but then the moment you decided we're going, the next thing was how we're going to do this. So we're going to reach out.
We slowed down because that was intentional.
Yeah.
Because we felt we probably are not ready. But honestly, I also believe that not ready is very mental.
Yeah.
But in this season especially, we felt like, listen, even if we're not ready, we've been delivering great sessions with our clients here.
Yeah.
The only difference is they're sitting in Bangalore. Let's say if they were in, for an example, another country and they were our client, they would have done the same thing. They would have shown up at the call.
True.
Absolutely no difference. So that was a moment we were like, listen, it could be anywhere. Or let's say we were on a holiday and suddenly everything shuts down. They're like, you can't get out. I wouldn't call my clients and say, sorry guys, I can't run a session. I'm like, hello, there need be.
True.
So I would have done whatever it takes to get on a call with them. So it's literally that simple, that recognizing that it was only me that is stopping versus how do we move this game forward. And then we just decided, okay, let's move on. In India, we're not new. So we're known for what we do. We work with a bunch of people. We're primarily known for solving interesting, compelling problem by innovating, experimenting, prototyping, all of that. If I want to do that in the US or anywhere else, people don't know us or we don't have that credibility yet. So we took the approach of working with people that know us and know what we do, and also kind of like have a listening for what we do. So that when we say, hey guys, let's start something, they're like, yeah, let me try, versus, hey, I know you guys, I know this could work, come, let's do something.
I'm very excited about what you're saying, especially because most people leave one thing and just jump to the next one. I like your approach, which is very calculated. One thing I want to go to before we go there is, why would you want to grow out of the country, especially at this time? Why did you want to grow outside of India?
That was the next step anyway. It wasn't a call we took this season. We acted on this season because practically it just didn't feel like big difference. It just felt like it could happen because today people who ever resisted doing anything online cannot resist anymore. You've got to move. You've got to actually take charge. So even from the receptive point of view, clients are open to doing online because that's the only way they can survive. And to some extent with my clients, I say, you've got to try online sessions with me. I'm also challenging them to say, hey, you need to join me, but you need to do this for yourself. People are a lot more open to getting on a call with you.
Yes, it's getting to be very normal. And the strange part is we've had video chats for the longest time, telemedicine for the longest time, and it was so difficult to get people on. People would jump on a plane to come to where you are as opposed to do a video call. And now, all of a sudden, it's become the thing to do. It's such strange times.
Yeah. In India, we had to go through the whole demonetization.
Okay.
Which basically means the currency, the notes we had weren't, we can't use them. The whole system was going to go online. It was just chaos. It's not a good decision from a government point of view, but long story short, from a vegetable merchant to an auto rickshaw guy to a taxi to everyone moved online payment. Everyone. Overnight, it became the normal. We're all very well designed to move and evolve. It's just that sometimes we only move when we are pushed towards it. We could have done this without it, but hey, we need some pushing, and then it becomes easier for people to move. Simply because people think it's not possible. It can't happen at all. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm on the call. Do you want to jump on the Zoom with me? I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's so true. There was the novelty the first few days, and then after that, everybody was like, "Oh, this is the thing we do now." You'd hear grandparents. I mean, because I remember when I started out, the same thing I was told is Skype is for grandparents to talk to their grandchildren who are across the world. And overnight, they were the same people who were like, "Oh, get on a Zoom with me. Get on a Zoom became a verb and a noun at the same time." It's such interesting times. So now getting into these new markets, how is that going so far?
And to be very honest, I'll say my first batch that I launched is a no-brainer offer. So here we work with small business. We started with the solopreneur program, guys who are individual consultants, coaches who want to grow their business that they've not been able to do, or they've stayed small or individual for a long time, helping them. So our offer is we can help you move to 6 figures in a year. Honestly, a lot of people want to get there, but they don't know how to get there. And secondly, we may be a nobody to them. So we're like, the only way we can get the attention we can is by giving it to them in an offer so that they get to experience what we do and then decide to actually continue our program or join slightly higher paying program. So we started with the $99, do a 3 weeks with us. At the end of 3 weeks, you feel like we've added value, then you continue.
That's a really interesting concept.
We're clear we can make a difference to the business, but they don't know that yet, right? And when I say that, I sound like anybody else. So the only way we can make it compelling for them is to say, do the 3 weeks with us at a no-brainer. Like, honestly, you probably are spending $100 on things that, are not even that important right now. What if we actually make our support and coaching and the whole program for that? In that 3 weeks, you get to take a call if this is something that can make a difference to your business. And then if it did, you can join our program. And if it doesn't, we'll actually return that money.
Whoa, so there's money guarantee if it doesn't work out?
Yeah, in 3 weeks' time. If you don't see any value, you can take the money. We don't have to work together.
Okay. Wow, interesting. How has been the uptake for that one?
As I told you, it was a small pilot. We're also testing while I do it. So I wanted a smaller number. I mean, honestly, having done this, I also believe that we do have some understanding of age group, people that fit into our program at the age of about 50 or struggle to keep up because we're very fast when we're working together. Because our work also involves co-working, which means in the session, we're testing things and we're solving some other things. So you're working together. And if you don't move fast, you will be left out or you feel left out. I had a client who above, I think maybe 60 plus.
That goes against everything I know about work at the moment because everybody wants to work with a younger crowd, although the 50 age group is left out. 50,
I don't really
60,
have
70,
any
80s.
concern. And to be very honest, at this stage, I'm running my pilots. I'm okay with whoever is in the program as long as they're coachable. As long as they're willing to learn, as long as they're keeping up with the speed as well, because it is true that we also work at a much faster pace.
But though you've done it in India for how long?
About 9 years.
Oh, that's a long time,
Yeah, so I started my first company at 20 when I just graduated from college with my husband. I mean, then he's my friend.
Okay. Were you dating when you started out at 20?
No. We met at work. He was the founder of the company. So we started together.
I can hear you. The beauty of being online and not face to face is these technical itches that you get. Really annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
You're at a point where you're telling me when you're 20 years old, you started a company with the person who's now your husband, but you're 20 years old, he was a co-founder of a company, and there was a recession. That's where we were.
We started that company in the middle of a recession. We did very well. We got an award for it, a fellowship for it. We were recognized as social enterprise. It was a private limited, but focused on social impact. So we had to shut that company down because the 3 co-founders didn't see the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Because our vision was misaligned. And then we got married. Yeah, so basically we've been in the entrepreneurship all of my working years.
Wow.
This business is about 5 years ago. We started about 5 years ago, but coaching and consulting, at least for my husband, he worked with $1 million companies at 24, and I started coaching really small teams at about 23, 24.
One interesting part is what makes a 21-year-old want to start a company, and a female in a world where it's dominated by men who are 50. We're talking about 50 years old, before 70 years old. You're 20 years old. Most 20 years old just want to go to college and, all this other stuff. What motivated you to start as a 20?
So at about 20, 21, generally in India, people finish their graduation. Because for us, going to school is like, nobody not go to school here, unless you're like really, really, really poor. So at least in India, going to school is like it's a thing to do. The kid says, I'm not going to school, that's a shocker. So culturally, they're very high on education.
Yeah.
But you're actually getting the most compelling education or not, you're in school, you're learning something, right?
Right.
So one. Second, I don't know. I feel like basically I started working as an intern at 17. So to some extent, I struggled to get a job because I definitely struggled because the place that I interned with is the company that was run by my husband, and he started when he was 17.
It's so interesting.
If that's confusing you, sorry.
No, it's not confusing me. It's exciting because we live in a world now where 20-year-old, 21-year-olds are wondering what to do with themselves. They don't even have skills or talent.
Daniel, that's not true. I'll tell you why.
Why?
It was true maybe when I started.
Yeah.
It's true maybe even 5 years after I started. It's not true right now because, at least in my country, people are starting in 20. A lot more people are starting in 20. So starting up has become a norm. At least in the city I'm in. Okay, let's say that differently.
Okay.
The city that I am from, Bangalore, if you know, is kind of out there, social, very, you'd find a lot more startups here. A lot of startups get birthed here.
Yeah.
A lot more new technology get tested here because people are very open.
And it has a head start because it's been there for probably now 20, 30 years of innovation. Because I remember in the 90s, I used to have friends in Bangalore who were doing awesome stuff in media and technology already.
We were a tech hub. We were an IT hub.
Yeah.
Everything in Bangalore was about engineers and softwares, and you would find any solution you want for software in Bangalore.
Yeah.
But in the 2015, it moved to startup hub. And because of recession, a lot of people lost their tech jobs. So the next big thing happened in Bangalore is startup.
Okay.
I mean, there was a season every coffee days were an investor meeting. Not kidding.
Wow, I remember those ones.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, it's great that I get to be part of the series because a majority of the part of the country is still don't know what this is. And like you were saying, girls are not starting, but it's not true anymore. A lot more girls are starting up. It's still not the same number as men.
How do you think we can limit those gaps and get more equality, let's say, into that office space?
But to be very honest, it's the problem. I'm also clear problem you are inspired to solve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to be very honest, the problem in this stage about getting more women to entrepreneurship is not the problem I want to solve. Because in the last 5 years of doing this with my company, Business Sherpa, we've hardly had women entrepreneurs in the program. I do think women are less open than men in learning.
But you sit in the position you sit in as a woman, and there are some insights that you've come to. And if there's a girl who's 17 years old and wants to start out from where they are right now, what are some of the things you tell them? You sit in experience of all these years. In fact, you started a business in a recession and you flourished. That talks to your acumen. A 17-year-old girl looks at you and asks you, what are some of the insights, in that sense?
I would actually honestly say don't start right now. Work under a mentor who's in the middle of a startup, who's willing to mentor you.
And another thing I get all the time is how do I get a mentor? And what do I need to do? There are different groups of people, but then there's a group of people who come to you and go like, solve this for me. This whatever this dream of mine, solve it for me. How do you go about that?
Trust me, they don't know half the time what they're asking or what they want.
Yes.
Which is exactly why I said, don't start anything, work under someone, even if to figure out if this is what you want. Because a lot of time it's the glamour that people fall for. Starting a business is easy, but keeping a business, I'm sorry, is hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, to say that you're an entrepreneur is very glamorous. I'm sorry, the game is hard. It's very hard. This is not to scare people. But at the same time, to be clear, listen, don't fall for the glamour. If you're willing to do what it takes, get dirty. Then we can talk about entrepreneurship. But you won't even know what you don't know right now. So which is why I keep saying, just work under someone, even if it's free. Like people negotiate salary to work. I'm like, listen, honestly, this is a paid program. Work under someone, do whatever it takes, work really hard, get a mentor. Because if you do well, the mentor will turn and say, hey, why don't you join my company?
True. And that's a testament to your example. You started out and you grew, and then you created something of your own. Then now you're doing this now. You've jumped to change many times before, as you've told me. One thing that I want to jump on is there's a population now that's going to be unemployed, and they're looking for purpose. They're looking for employment. They're looking for change. How do you get to the next level right now if you are unemployed or you don't have a plan, that kind of thing? Because nobody saw COVID coming. It just happened, right?
Yeah.
How would you get to that next level?
I mean, to be very honest, from a job point of view, I don't really have an idea. But if I have to tell an individual, I would say pick up a critical skill that can provide or bring value to whoever you're willing to work with. A lot of people got a job and somehow survived.
Yeah.
Those things won't happen now. Can't happen. You have to be someone who brings clear value. And if you don't, you're out. You can be someone who's experienced and who's been working in a company for a long time, but if in this season people are measuring everything, and if you're someone who works based on your numbers and performance, you are good, but you don't have the most updated skill set, you're probably in the danger. So I would actually say it's never too late to find an interesting startup or an open boss, even if you have to cut your payment for half, pick up some real skill and perform better so that you get hired and paid well. And also, if you are someone who can bet on your performance, you will get money. You will get paid well. But sadly, not everybody is open to performance-based. The biggest approach we've taken is we will charge a small retainer because that makes you accountable.
Yeah.
But we only make money as you make money. I feel like that's where a lot of gaps are today.
And something else now going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Are you optimistic? And what are you optimistic about?
To be very honest, I don't know if I even look at this whole thing as an optimistic. I actually say I'm committed. People say, I'm positive. What do you mean by being positive? Being positive is very expecting game, right? You're expecting something to happen. When it doesn't happen, you get upset. But you can always commit. When it doesn't happen, you recommit. And it doesn't happen, you recommit. So I kind of take the approach of commitment than positive or confident. Confident is the result of commitment. It's not the other way.
Okay, let me get that straight again, right?
Not optimistic or positive, but committed.
Committed. And how is that different from being optimistic?
To some extent, being positive or confident is the result of your commitment. Commitment comes first. Just because I'm being positive, I don't know if I'm taking enough action, putting enough commitment to make something happen. It's commitment first, then you have all the interesting result called confidence and positivity and everything else, but you've got to commit and you've got to do it, because I'll tell you why. We will all break, we will all fail, we will all fall. A lot of time, commitment precedes any of the other things. If you're committed, you're going to buckle up, keep moving. So in my head, I don't know if I'm positive, but I'm definitely committed.
Wow, that's really interesting. Another question would be, we all fail. How many times do you need to fail before you pivot to the next level? You take a different course? Because this now is your line of work, really.
I feel like there's no fail, you only pivot. So to be very honest, I'm starting with the whole solopreneur program.
So, something interesting about working with solopreneurs is you go through very specific pains and different pains every day. For me, I feel like those baby steps and those growing pains help you to go to the next level when you're working with corporates and the next enterprise businesses. You've shifted out all these problems, and if you come up with a system that works for solopreneurs, it becomes really easy to work with everybody else.
I think to some extent it also gives us confidence. Although we have done it many times, but I just think it's important to do it.
Don't you feel the experience that you've had so far building over the years, the running the business for the last 8 years, starting the stuff at 21 years old, don't you think that counts to something?
Absolutely. That's the only reason I have partners who are willing to refer. The guys who are on the call, not everybody comes to the call with, oh, I'm going to make the most. Everyone's skeptical, right? Who are these guys? Let's see what happens. So you got to keep upgrading, and it may sound like we're going a little slow, but that's okay.
What's the difference in the market segment between India and America clients right now, from just your experience? I know it's early days, but are there very stunning differences?
I think entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs everywhere, but the solopreneurs are a lot more. One angle is that they have a job or they have something else going on. Like when we work with entrepreneurs, this is the only thing that they run. And I need someone who's willing to do what it takes, give the full focus in making something happen. And sometimes solopreneurs may struggle with that. And to be very honest, it does feel like solopreneurs move slowly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
But that's a bit of a struggle for us because we'd love to move faster. And especially when you have a team, we can do so much. At the same time, one of the reasons we're also thinking of US or any other is that getting paid in dollars is better than getting paid in rupees.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
That's one. Second, we do feel that personally as a couple and as an individual, because my business partner is also my husband, we'd love to be independent of a location so that I could travel and run the business. So I don't have to be stuck to one place.
So the three of you could travel, you, your husband, and your dog. You didn't tell me the name of your dog, by the way.
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo. So the three of you could travel anywhere and work from anywhere in the world?
Hopefully we can take him as well, but our vision is to be able to not just stick to India, but travel wherever, but have clients wherever. We also want to be everywhere, have clients anywhere, that we can make a difference to and we can work together. We just said US right now because we have friends in the US who we are partnering with and then starting. And ideally, I would like to run advertisement and, get my own clients from anywhere. Obviously, you become independent. You run great business for yourself and you help as many entrepreneurs as you possible. See, honestly, our vision is to work with ambitious entrepreneurs. So no way, not possible if they're not ambitious. It's not going to happen.
How do you determine ambition in a person? Because now you're meeting the next 5-6 people. How do you tell?
I have a bunch of questions to ask about their business.
Okay.
And honestly, one of the reasons we say 3 weeks is not just for them to test us, but for us to know if we like them.
Because for the longest time, I used EQ, emotional intelligence systems and those kind of things. Sometimes that is not the best metrics. I don't think there's a formula.
So in the last 12 years, me, and 15 years, my husband, we work with people and we've been coaches. And we understand, this is not to say we understand everything, but I definitely can speak to someone. I speak to someone, not just answer, but speak to someone once or twice to understand if the person is coachable. If the person is coachable, we're good to go. If they're not, we can't work. To some extent, they believe, just help me make money. I'm like, sorry.
The strange part about this is your target market is male, 50 years old. My target market has always been...
Oh, no, it's not. My target is not 50. In fact, my target literally is 27 to 40. They travel, so which means they're open. Most of them are coachable, and they've got some fire. Having said that, it's not that people, apart from this age, do not have fire. There are a few people that I've met with fire, and we started working with them, so it's fun. But if you ask me, my ideal age is 27 to 40, or even say 30 to 40.
Because for me, I've always mentored females 22 to about 31, and in certain fields for most part. And then when it comes to men, it's very technical people, and normally it's taking whatever they're making in the technical field and giving it a social aspect, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like once you understand their strength, and more importantly, you understand their weaknesses, you bring that weakness, and you find most technical people are very technical, and sometimes just bringing a designer into the room or a female into the room, and stuff changes, becomes more social in terms of whatever it is they're making. Now it's presentable to the world. There's a story time. Today in the morning, I woke up and I was talking to this person, and they were going like, they were losing it and saying, stuff is, I go like, relax, breathe. Okay. Do you have the stuff we pinned on the wall? Because we do this stuff, whatever it is you want, put it on the wall, and then let's have 21 days or 90 days to achieve that step by step. So we're working backwards in front instead of working from here to the thing. And you go like, do you still see the thing that we talked about before? And you go like, I'm looking at it, go and pull it off the wall. And they got upset. No, I can't pull it off the wall. That's what I'm working for. And go like, now you get focused. So pull yourself off. It's okay to cry for one day and then work for the rest of the month. That's kind of the thing I was dealing with in the morning. But then it's easy to say that. But then how do you deal with your personal dramas and troubles and traumas? Because life happens regardless whether you're a coach or not.
And to be very honest, we tell this to other friends who are couples working together, is that because of a lot of working together, practices has helped our marriage. Because at work, if you get upset, you can't continue working. You've got to deal with the upset and then continue working. There are things like that we put in place between team members, between us, because these are values. You can look at it as work, but these are values that make anybody a great leader, right? We approach it from an individual leadership point of view, and then a team leadership point of view, and in an organization leadership point of view. So from that place, I also would say coaching is one of our strong suits, which could also be a trap sometimes that we may know things and not practice it. But because my husband and I are not just couples but business partners, we look it straight and we talk to each other and bring up the bad news. It's very uncomfortable, but I feel like at least that system has worked for us.
And one thing that everybody would want me to ask you is, you work together at work and you come home and you have to live together the whole time. How do you get space to breathe? Or do you even need space to breathe?
We do have things to do apart from each other.
Yeah.
We've got friends. We're very intentional about that. We're a big part of church. So, and we're also leaders at church. We play different roles at church. So, we don't do everything together. Having said that, we do a lot of things together. But I think one is we enjoy is doing it together. For me, it's the other way. I can't imagine not working with my husband. But at the same time, I think we've drawn enough line to take a break. And we also enjoy traveling together. So I know if we travel, we come back refreshed. So we are very intentional about making sure we take time off. And honestly, a big part of our support system is our dog right now. I am not kidding.
Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is truly a gift.
And one thing you talked about travel is you might be harboring a secret nomad dream to live somewhere, because digital nomads, you could work anywhere.
Somewhere where the beaches.
Please give us some insights on where you want to go.
My husband would say Bali. I do love Bali, but I feel like I haven't seen the rest of the world, so I can't pick. Do you know?
So you're
But
totally digital nomad. You want to get into a van and travel the world, get into a ship or a boat, wherever it is, and just, or live in a forest somewhere, so long as you have network
okay,
and you can do
here's
your
the
work.
thing.
Yeah.
No, see, that's the thing. I'm not a forest person. I freak out. I'm not a forest person. I can't do it.
Forests are amazing.
I know. See, the thing is, I'm a city girl. When you those creepy crawls, I freak out. Can't do it.
I'm a city kid too. I love watching the river flows and just that calms me down.
I love all of that, but I just have to come back home. Or I have to, no forest. Forest is good, but I am, like somebody was saying, what about camping? I'm like, maybe I haven't done enough camping to know, but
So your dream destination would be where?
that's the thing. I haven't traveled enough to know where, but for now I can say somewhere wherever the beach is. It's too early for me. I haven't traveled enough to say where. But to be very honest, the city I'm in is a brilliant one. It's got great weather. It's got bad traffic, but it's got fantastic weather in the whole country, and a lot of people come here for, just for the climate.
I think you'd love Nairobi a lot because it's great weather all through most days, great people. I mean, and it's very cosmopolitan. And being a city boy, I don't know if this also happens to you. You go out of town or you travel somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I'd miss that town feel where you just get into town, there's like a million people in there just walking and living their lives.
I need more people. I'm a very private person, but I need more people to look. Like, I need to look up. As long as there are more people, I'm like, okay, I'm happy. Right? So I don't like let's go to the mountain. I need quiet space. Sorry, can't do it.
For me, quiet spaces make me think. As a poet, I want to go into a quiet place. And then when I'm in town, I want to do a major concert. And but also sometimes I want a quiet place in town where I can just have coffee and read and type something, do whatever, write on pen and paper. Like this meeting, I wrote it on pen and paper on a notebook. Although I have a calendar and all this stuff. So
yeah, I know what you mean. That's the thing, right?
Right.
I want to sit in a busy place, but I don't want someone coming and sitting next to me and disturbing me. I love it. Like it's a thing. I love to think quiet. I just want music to go.
Okay.
I'm okay. Don't sit next to me, but I just want, if I want to think. And when I'm ready to talk. Okay. I'm all yours,
What do you listen to? What kind of music do you listen to?
Worship. Sounds very fun. Different out of all the questions you asked me. I spend a lot of time in worship. Or a lot of women empowerment type of music. Yeah, I'm okay. Like if I listen to the song at a particular moment and place, I capture those songs very special. And then there are a few people that I follow and then I love their songs primarily. Yeah.
At this point, we're going to take a slight break. When we come back, you're going to be joining me with Slevi conversation. But right now, I'd like to tell you about the new book that I just put out. It's called Road to Marsabit. Think about it like a road trip in picture form, coffee table type of deal. If you can, when you can, and you're on the browser, go to Amazon.com, type Daniel Duwa, Daniel, D-U-W-A. You'll see the books out there. You can support me that way. And also, if you're so inclined, feel free to support this production in kind or in, whichever way you can find in your heart to support this work. There are links beneath the show. And also, remember that you can always Google Daniel Duwa, Daniel, D-U-W-A, Daniel Duwa, and support in that way. In the meantime, I like us to go back because this conversation is really, really awesome. Again, if you're enjoying it, let me know. I'm easy to find. All the links are in the description box below. This is the fun part. Chai or coffee?
Coffee.
Why coffee?
Coffee is good. Also, the part of the country that I come from, we make coffee better than chai. So, but coffee any day.
What are some of your favorites?
Traveling is a big part. It's a big favorite. Food, Thai, anything Asian, Southeast Asian is fantastic. Oh God, this is such a big question. What are favorites? Dogs, animals are favorites. Not that any animal else I don't like. Maybe reptiles I don't like. But sorry, but I like animals. I believe people, from a favorite point of view, I think people have all of their heart, they all want to be amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think they wake up wanting to be crappy. If they go to sleep thinking they're crappy, or the day was crappy, that's fine. But at the core of individual human being, they all want to be amazing, and that's the part that's exciting to work with. What else? Favorites. I like painting, good painting, art stuff. Dance is favorite. Good design is a favorite thing. Sorry, I'm just looking around my house. I'm thinking. Flowers, favorites.
Yeah.
Jute, anything jute is good. I like minimalistic is favorite. Passion is favorite. People that break for others is favorite. God is my favorite.
Wow.
Don't want to make it a spiritual conversation, but hey, God is my number one favorite. Yeah.
What's one thing that you struggled, that you wish you could change if you had the ability, but something that's really important to you?
Being in control.
That's a quick one.
Yeah.
But
I'm
don't
aware of
you
what I
think
do.
for you to be a good coach, you have to be a bit of a control freak?
Yeah, so I feel like when I wear a coach hat, I am extremely generous. Like, it's about making sure, I'm really truly there for them. So it's hard when I'm not in control. Like, I'm either in control or I'm not. It's out. I do find the balance hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with. Top most.
You have to be in control. The opposite is, how do you stay centered?
Faith on the run.
Okay.
Not imagine anything else could bring me back.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything I left out that probably you want to put out here?
Okay, maybe because I work with my husband, and a lot of people think it's impossible. Can't work with spouse. What? There's like, I see him or see her every day. That's enough. For us, I don't think we're the dream partners at work, but I wouldn't do it with anyone else. Yeah, I do feel like people who actually do well with their partners would agree with me that it's so much fun to work with your spouse, because I think your struggles are totally understood because somebody understands what you're going through. And I feel it's pretty amazing to dream together, go after it, versus like a lot of our lives today, if you see, a lot of our work, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of people, what we do is also our dream, our passion. And we love doing what we do. And if you can do it with the people that you love, isn't that amazing? All said and done, we're in a generation like we put a lot of our work and job as a priority than our family. And I can totally see myself doing that. And because I do it with my husband, I think it's good for me. Because I cannot compromise, or I wouldn't want my work to take over my marriage. But because I do it with my husband, I feel like we find a way to balance it. I feel it's great to work with your husband. And when I take my dog to co-working space, I built greatest network possible with my dog. My dog is my chief network officer. Believe it or not.
Wow. Marco Polo.
And he's super friendly, super friendly. He's a golden retriever, super friendly, very good looking, So people just come to him like, oh, hi, what's your name? They're still asking about the dog. And then the next day they'd come to me and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't say hi to you. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that. And then, that's how I've built a lot of network. My dog, he works.
Do you think places like co-working environments are not exactly the same as the population out there, because there's a bit of a bubble, and you have to find somebody to work with, and people are a bit more open as opposed to being out here? So let's say if you are doing traditional business, would you still work with your husband? Something out of coaching and tech, and something probably running a retail shop or a store, or I don't know, one of those, because most of the people who have struggled in those traditional businesses.
Maybe I would. Because we work with clients who are at that level, right? Because we don't just work with coaches, we work with all sorts of businesses. I think I would. I don't think our working together is possible because of my business. We attempt to work together.
Okay, cool. Because I find working in those kind of environment invite people into the space. People are more friendly, more open, and more accepting of other different. You said at some point you like odd.
You talked about bubble.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, this is the thing. It is hard for you to live without a bubble. You're always building a bubble. Honestly, I find it very hard without a bubble.
Yep.
Because, let's say you walk into a restaurant. If you don't have a bubble, you're probably not going to enjoy everything that's going on there.
No.
So I do feel bubble is a good thing, as long as you understand what role the bubble plays.
True.
I agree there is a bubble, and to be very honest, I feel like my world, forget Bangalore as a city, my world is a bubble. I don't think we would be, as human beings, it's a struggle to do it without a bubble.
Okay.
And it's okay to have a bubble, as long as, don't have the bubble abuse you, but bubble's a good thing.
So bubble is a thing, but then we have people who are gatekeepers and keep people away from opportunities and all these other things. And sometimes the gatekeeper is ourselves, because it's the mindset. We're at a point where we feel defeated and we don't think we're good enough, or we cannot do whatever it is. How do you deal with that on a personal level?
Yeah, honestly, I feel not good enough many times. It is a big struggle, and you'll have to figure your own way out to work through that, because I don't think we are good enough. Because I think we're not good enough. We are imperfect people. But it's just that when we hear it from someone, it hurts us a lot more. And then we tell ourselves that we're not good enough. And every time I go to a place of I'm not good enough, it's a big struggle. And in fact, I struggle with I'm alone, and people don't understand me. Individually, people have struggled, but those are the times I rely on my faith in God. Because no matter how motivational the songs I listen to, it doesn't make a difference. It's a fig. I have to genuinely believe that I was made in the image of God. He handpicked me, and I have come to terms with the fact that I am beautifully and wonderfully made by God. If I do not believe in that truth, then I believe in all the lies of I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I am this, I am that. Yeah, I know I'm perfectly made by God, but I am also this imperfect human with so many flaws that screws up every day.
Okay. So what would you say is your purpose on earth?
There's different things. I do feel like to make a difference to people, truly to be a child of God. How you do it may be different. Like right now, I think my vehicle we've got is business and different people that we get to work with. That's my vehicle, right? But overall, I can see the biggest, at least the urge that I can see is to make a difference to people's life. Right now, it's business. Tomorrow it could be anything else. But to really help people unlock some possibilities that they never thought existed.
If you had a minute to introduce yourself to the world and your business, this is your minute.
So my name is Slevi, and I work with small businesses and solopreneurs and help them scale. Why do we do that? Is that why we call ourselves a Business Sherpa, because of my company name is Business Sherpa, is that we don't just want to advise you, but we want to walk with you, help you climb all the mountains that we want to climb, and be with you while doing it together. Honestly, I had fun crossing all the big dangerous spots and impossible futures. We can look back and laugh and say that was a good journey.
Wow, that's a great elevator pitch. Wow, it's been great. You sharing your story makes me very happy.
I appreciate that, Daniel.
For me, talking to people who are doing stuff and who are driven, some of the stuff you told me, I'm like, wow, man, I'm not even doing enough. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I think you're also kind.
Thank you.
Really nice talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Because I always say life sucks, but you gotta
Yeah.
find you gotta find the goodness in there somewhere.
Yes. Oh, that's not part of this at all. This is remember I was telling you,
Yeah.
because I'm exploring business outside, and you definitely brought up Nairobi being really cool. Let's say if I have to actually connect to solopreneurs or entrepreneurs there that we can work with and help and stuff like that. How do you recommend? What do you recommend? I do.
Wow, it's so I think the first thing would be to network, but then also to pick what kind of business you want to work with. Business,
So let's say for now,
yeah,
to work with coaches, consultants,
coaching consultants.
coaches, consultants, solopreneurs.
Wow. Now, the beauty about Nairobi is there's a lot of, or everybody's here, like from whichever country in the world. But then also they're segmented. There's unlike Bangalore where you have spaces that are kind of like, because of the time, and here it's a bit segmented. So people are not like in the same place. There are many hubs, but people also operate within certain quarters, right? So the first thing I would do is, because in India the consulate, we have a consulate here, right?
Okay.
The Indian consulate.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they are open during this time, but the first thing, and this is what I normally do, even like now, for example, if I want to do stuff in India, I would get to the Kenyan consulate and ask for contacts. So the first thing I will do is just, because you're in India and you're Indian, if you contact the Kenyan consulate via email or whatever it is, and you just call them and say, can you help me, or I'm a business here and I want to get into this. Because Nairobi is kind of like a big city, but it's, in any businesses, the best rise to the top. They would have a list of the contacts. And then based on the...
approach, isn't it?
What's that?
Like, what if I actually speak to 5, 6 interesting entrepreneurs, not to even sell to them, just to insight, and to do some kind of a discovery conversation to understand what's going on.
Yes, that's what I was coming to. So I was thinking, once you have a list, because the beauty is the people at the consulate have people who do business with India already. You see where my approach comes in, yeah? So when you introduce yourself, you have, number one, credibility, so you don't have to prove yourself to these people that you're being introduced to, because you just say, I got you from the list of the consulate, and you've been doing stuff together, and I'm in India, so the conversation of prove yourself is already gone. And then the other advantage is, because you like being in control, they'll give you a list of numbers or names or whatever, or businesses. You can cherry pick from a variety, and then now that can be your case study. So you scale very quickly, as opposed to just randomly picking people. For me, that has already worked. That's always worked with any place I want to work with. Like, let's say if I want to get people in Croatia. Now, probably Kenya doesn't have a consulate in Croatia, an embassy in Croatia. But what's the next place they have? So I contact them, and somebody will say, we don't have that detail, but on a personal level, I know a person in Croatia. So all of a sudden, I'm not starting from zero. I don't like starting from zero, being a control freak that I am. So So number one, that gives me credibility, because I'll call and say, I've been referred to you by your friend so and so, your partner, your business partner, or so and so works at the consulate. And all of a sudden, the other person will feel a need to introduce you to their people. So in that sense, I don't know if that helps. That has always been my approach.
Okay.
And
so
if
you
it's
literally just connect with people, and what do you tell them? You are so and so.
The truth. The same way I approached you. I was like, this is what I do. Like, okay, it's great because, for example, I don't like to just get on social media and chit chat, because I don't think social media is real. Like for example, now you're real because we've had a conversation, and this is the same conversation we'd have over coffee or tea. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm a coffee person too, so probably I'd get a latte and we'd have a cake together and we'd share about all this other stuff. And very soon we get to this conversation, which is really important. How do you do this? And for me, there's no right or wrong way. It's just, there is a way that works, because sometimes you can get it from the consulate, but there's the business community, right? And what I want to do normally is to jump from, this is very professional, tied up with ties and suits, to, oh my goodness, you like that too? Oh my goodness, what coffee? Now we're friends.
Right.
So when they talk to somebody else about you, and I learned this from the Germans, honestly, to be honest. I'm just going to be very honest. I used to work with, I've worked with a bunch of people from all over the world. And I love working with the Japanese and the Germans. The Japanese, for one thing, when they say 11 o'clock, 10:59 is too early and 11:01 is too late. So you have to be specific to the time. And I love that because it just gives you structure, right? And if you can keep time that strict, you'll achieve what you want, right? Now, the Germans are the opposite. The Germans will introduce you now, like, for example, now we get to be friends. And they will say, oh, this is so-and-so, Slevi. She runs a company. She has 15 years of experience. Collectively, it's 30 years. Her and her husband runs this thing. And she started when she was 21. And it's like a book. It's like they're writing a book about you, right? And then they turn to the next person, the person they're introducing you to, and they introduce the same way. So when you shake hands, you feel like you want to do stuff already.
Nice.
You see what I mean? So that's the same thing. So that's the same principle I use. I want to get to, because here's the deal. I don't want to spend 20 days trying to get to the cream of the crop, right? Let's just get to the cream, and then maybe our creative input, our impact will flow down afterwards, as opposed to dealing with all this. I don't know. I don't know if. Okay, am I making sense? I'm just getting emotional over here.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So that's how I go about it.
Right.
Yeah. So you start with the networks, and also the other place I get it from is the private clubs, right? They will not allow you at the private club even if you have the money.
Yeah.
You have to be introduced by somebody else, right? And that somebody has to have. So you'll be introduced by 3 people, and you'll go through a vetting process. And then probably now you after a while and a struggle, you get in. But then the moment you get in, everything is cheap, but then you cannot pass anybody because it's an extension of your sitting room. You have to greet everybody, and you have to ask them how they're doing, and you have to really, really care. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, how do I bring that? And that's the reason why I asked you about these gatekeepers. Because I don't believe in gatekeepers. I like to use the same principle, the best of the crop, but then how do we spread it to? And that's why I reached out to you. Because if you're doing great stuff, you're going to do great stuff anywhere. That seed can grow anywhere you drop it. You know what I mean? So for me, that's my passion. I mean, if you surround yourself, because for example, one of my mantras is to surround myself with people who are 10 times, 50 times smarter than me, brighter than me, more focused than me. Because if you're around those people, there is no way you're going to slack off. And even if you slack off, you're not still at the level of people who are not doing anything. Yeah. And I'd rather feel like an imposter syndrome among the greatest than be a big fish in a small pond. You know what I mean? So those are kind of my mantras, but I don't know if I just went off the tangent.
That's you?
Yeah.
Tangent.
Yeah. So does that start to answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that I can hold. I mean, I can start here. It's great.
So consulate, business, embassies, business communities. Like just Google and then put business, whatever it is you're looking for, business community, and you say Nairobi, stuff will come up. Even if it's social media, stuff will come up. And okay, my methods are a bit weird, but we are here. It works, right? Mm-hmm. We are having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And in a month I can only do 3 because I have backlog and stuff like that. But picking and also you talked about faith a lot, right? I also believe in that. It's a divine connection in a way. But then again, as a creative, somebody will tell you, "Oh, you're just making that up." But how come you got somebody who has 8 years, 15 years in the business? You know what I mean? So for me, I believe I just trust my guts. It's not about throwing seed and hope it falls in. It's starting with a good ground. Okay, so good ground. What are these people doing? Because there's a lot of people who run startups and business and stuff. Like you remember the time you were telling me there was a startup meeting every 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of that stuff doesn't have impact. But then how do you create impact? You create impact by creating impact. And that kind of seems like an oxymoron. So anyway, so my first thing is always to go through formal, and it's not my thinking because I'm a creative also, but I'm also a hacker. So how would a hacker think? Go through the formal settings. There must be a Kenyan-Indian relationship, business community, something. Okay. So because you're in India, you don't want somebody in India, right? Because that's a gatekeeper. So you contact the person who, or the secretary in Kenya, and say, and always ask specific. Hi, my name is Daniel Duwa. This is what I do. What is it you do? So once I know your interest, so in this case, for example, you're looking for contacts in Kenya. If you write that person and say, this is what I'm doing, and I'm growing I'm reaching out and I'm branching out, and do you have any leads on somebody I can talk to in Kenya about this? And most people will be very helpful. People, okay, not one thing I also come to realize in life is there are psychopaths in the world, but most people want to help. And they will reach out and just say, we don't have a formal system, but I know a person, if you can contact them on phone or email or whatever and say we spoke. Then now you know you've cut 3 years of conversation.
I see.
You see, because for me, one of the most important things is time. If you can, and that's why I keep saying timelines. If it's more than 90 days, I don't want to do it. Because, so 21 days, and then the longest program is 90 days. So in this case, once you have that contact, and the beauty with Kenya is we have everybody here. And all of them have their own small business communities and major business communities and multinational community. And they're just below the radar that they're not going to make Forbes magazine, but their impact is massive. Yeah.
Okay.
And you could be the coach, the coach who comes from India and brings that experience, a different view to that. You know what I mean? You could even go the faith way if you want. You know what I mean? Because we have mega churches. We have, for me, it's you pick your niche and you stick with that, and whatever makes you happy, and you grow that.
Yeah, just a good opening of the door.
Yeah.
As in not in the gatekeeper way, but hey.
Sometimes I even go knock the gatekeeper and change, have an impact, because, like, for example, when I was growing up, we didn't have those massive major music festivals, and I'm crazy about music. I love music. And my dream was to have a concert here, and I went through the council. I think I was 16, and I went to the mayor. We had a mayor. We didn't even have a governor at the time. And the mayor of the city invited me over. I was very eloquently spoke. Very eloquently dressed, very American dressed, very American mannerism. And I walked there, and he brought about 12 people in the room, in the conference room. I'm a kid, and they're listening to me. And I say, and then eventually they give me a bill and say, for us to close the road, you're going to pay this $1 billion money. And I go like, I don't have the money. It's you guys should be paying for this thing because we're gonna bring tourists and stuff. And I hit a brick wall, and I had to rethink about that idea. And eventually we started doing something called Kenya Music Week. I think it was 3 years later. And we ran for about 7 years. You know what I mean? And it changed the music scene all over East Africa and the wider Africa, and now even to the Americas. Because now African music is a thing that people get signed for. So those are the kind of impacts I want. But where do you start? You start from, okay, let's start with not the traditional structures, because sometimes traditional structures have gatekeepers. And you don't want to hit your head on the wall for too long.
But I did think the aspect of communities is a great start.
Yes.
I'd like to start with smaller communities than where I always connect with a few people who seem to see and understand what I'm saying, and then we can always start small.
Now, in Kenya, you want to start big. You want to be the guru. You know what I mean? Because
What do you mean when you mean practice?
As in, for example, you know, I don't know. For me, you see, like your experience and having run business in your country for this long, for me that says something. You know what I mean? And for me, that's what I leverage on. Like for example, like right now, if I was to travel somewhere and somebody asked me what I do, I'll just say I'm an author, and my book is on Amazon, and you can buy it now. So all of a sudden,
Right.
that conversation that we would have had, and me trying to convince you, all that stuff, that's just already cut, because that's a small entry point, right?
Right.
And then I'd ask, what's your interest? And because I've been very professional to the point, they'll also jump in the same way and say, oh, I think we were looking for a coach. I go like, oh, my work is, did you see the new incubator, the new ventilator that was made in Kenya? Those were my mentees. And you can get reference here. And they're like, oh, freaking. And all of a sudden, they start thinking about the quality of your work. You know what I mean? Because for me, I don't want to start convincing anybody this is what I do. Either I'm doing it or I'm not. And
Right.
at this age in my life, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? Because for me, I've understood one thing. It's about repeatable. Can I repeat that process? Can I mentor the next level?
Yeah.
The next impact? But impact is not one person. Like for example, I don't want to talk to 100 girls in India. I want to talk to 3, and all of them. Like for example, my other mentee, I think she's in your city, and she's going to the States next year. She was supposed to go this year, but then because of this stuff, so I'm not preparing her for India. I'm preparing the world for her. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So that when she gets there, she doesn't have to start from zero, because she has all this Indian experience. She's been a model in India since she was 12 years old. So bringing that to the world. So how do you stand next to an American girl, Caucasian girl, who was a model since she was 6 years old, and she's been to every pageant? That difference, the difference that you bring into the room, how do you make that shine? And that's the same thing. So if I was to come to a country like Kenya or any other country as yourself, I would come as the expert that I am. I would push
Right.
that experience and say, in one of the biggest countries in the world, in the highest population, as a person, this is the impact we've done. We've started business in recession. In fact, the catch. In fact, if I had a tagline for you, it'd be like, businesses starting in recession. We're the experts. Something of that nature.
We've done that.
You know what I mean? Something of that nature.
Yeah. We've done exactly that before.
Yeah.
But I hear you, Daniel. I appreciate all the suggestions.
Yeah.
I'm do something about it.
Yeah.
But also, Daniel, I'm really sorry. I realize I have my next call starting
Okay.
in exactly a minute. But I want to say thank you for doing this. And I think it was useful on some of the points you've recommended. So I'm going to try that.
No, it's been my pleasure to have you, and for you to take your time and to talk to me, and for you to share your experience in life. We don't have enough of those, and I think that's why sometimes we feel like imposters, because we're the only ones standing in those positions. You know,
Yeah.
we look around and we don't see somebody like us. You know, and sometimes I used to joke to myself every time. Probably, let me give you another quick story. So when you do a concert, it takes probably 8 months to, let's say you sign a massive artist. It doesn't matter which genre, even a worship artist, like one of those major artists. You pick the billboard and say number one. It takes about 7 months. So once you sign the contract and you have to send them the money, all that stuff, there's a point that I get really scared. When everything's been set, the stage has been set, but the doors haven't been opened.
Mm.
You see that gap?
Yeah.
You are in this massive console, and for the first time you can breathe. And then it hits you. What if people don't come? What if you know what I mean? What if lights go off and you go like, oh, there's a generator? And then you know the beauty, the beauty comes into the professionals, yeah? What if the lights go off? There's a generator and there's a whole team, or it's a stadium. You see, so that starts to calm me down. And again, it goes back to the thing I was telling you, the entry point that you use, right? You don't want to go like, hi, I am a coach, and somebody asks you, what's a coach? They want to go like, oh, she is one of India's best coaches in Bangalore. Now, all factual information, right? You know what I mean? So for me, that is sometimes that, because of my shyness and all these things, that's what carries me. That's why I can talk to this mic and talk to you. You know what I mean? Because if you thought about it, it becomes really difficult to do. So you sharing your story makes me very happy, because I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, I've gone through that. Oh, she handles that. Whoa, she's a hero now. You know what I mean? So those kind of things. Because I always say life sucks, but you gotta find you gotta find the goodness in there somewhere. You know?
I appreciate that, Daniel.
Yeah. Wow, it's been great. So another thing, you can reach me anytime, and just, you know, like, even if you want to just ask stuff, if I can make the time, and then we take it, because time is the issue now. But if we can work time, feel free. Now we're friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're
Now
friends.
that you like coffee,
Yeah.
you better become, right?
Yeah, I mean, if this thing doesn't end soon, we will get Marco Polo, you and your hubby, and then sit in front of a computer with coffee, and we'll brew each other coffee, and then just have conversations. And someday when we meet, we'll tell people, oh, you know, we met over social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, and for me, excellence is great. Talking to people who are doing stuff and who are driven and who start. I mean, because, for example, some of the stuff you told me, I'm like, wow, man, I'm not even doing enough yet. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I think you're also kind.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this session of Conversation with Daniel Duwa, and hope to see you again. I'd like to thank my guests today, Slevi Radhakrisna Cheria, for being so open, for sharing her insights, and for giving us hope in a world that sometimes seems very hopeless. Thank you so much, Slevi. Thank you so much for the stuff you're doing, you and your life partner. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Again, amazing conversation. I assure you, this has been good company. And you know, Conversation with Daniel Duwa, the deal is to be in good company, great people doing awesome stuff, and living their days and changing the world one bit at a time. I don't know what the most outstanding thing from the conversation that we just had. Let me know. In the meantime, thank you for joining me, and until next time, if you can, remember to pass by the bookstore, Daniel Duwa Books, on Amazon. That's how you get supporters. Also, please share, comment. And if you're on a podcast catcher like Apple, where you can leave reviews, please do that. I'd really appreciate that. Also, I'd like to apologize because I'm recording this and life is happening, so if it's not as clear, I apologize. In the meantime, thanks for joining me. Go get the books. It's amazing stuff. In the meantime, thanks. Until the next one, thank you and bye-bye.